You can't believe them, can you?
It's got a different rudder, and the rudder's larger on that one, isn't it? Yeah. Or, no, it's smaller, it's cut away.
The fences on that one aren't on that one.
No, that's an early one, that one.
And the wing.
Different altogether, isn't it?
I had the person who did it licked the beam there.
Yeah, must be
That one opening the thing up, nuts.
I think that's fine.
Well, that's it. They tend to be limited just to the other places. Slightly new.
We're not too far away from anybody.
Right about here. You won't get in that corner because that's the end of the
Nobody's treated up either after yesterday. Steps.
Yeah. Quick.
You may go up on the concrete, the term bloody get old.
Right, yes. Yeah. I mean, do they actually use the lift engines when they're taking off? I suppose they're running, obviously.
It's so low to the ground.
Yes.
But when he revs up,
He pulled off at the side of the fire truck. The ladder came up, the pilot looked out pretty sharp. And he heard a big bang. There he goes, alright. It turned out when we looked at the video, he filled it with the tarmac. And it had smashed into the aircraft. So it obviously wasn't anything inside.
Joanna went. It's funny she went.
Yeah, look, you've got a line every screw, and they won't panic once you've taken off. It screws the front.
Really tight circuit.
Because they come in allowance.
Standing by the bench, you can get all that. Stood over there, you know, pick everything. There's so many fanatics over there with different snippets of information.
Frontline speakers, in front of J Row and along past Dingley Road. Test at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1.
Big 31. They're horrible.
Just the experience of sharing with each other is
One, two, three, four, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1.
You've got to be very careful.
That was it.
basically doing it as local management and that's doing Aerobatic as well as firefighting equipment. Two groups, one down by the left and slow lane, the other will be past the main group by the emergency and the cross runway. Another group part of it will be by the new path. Behind them, large amount of medical personnel, 4 frontline ambulances and VRA Farnborough zone vehicles, 5 other ambulances on loan, including 3 from the Rotary and the north side of the runway. This end of the runway underneath up here. And done all the development type certification plans on the Rotary well. See, well, that hill 19. The Farnborough is ready. The engine is an Allison Q50 turboprop. It has 6 underwing hardpoints, which again is rather more than you would expect to find perhaps on training parts of a pupil's program, because it's fairly important to be able to see what the pupil's doing in the early stages and be able to make corrections. Coming down to an equally short landing. And more emphasis very much on everybody's thoughts these days, and the military air forces always has had to be, of course. Coming out onto the runway now is the first of the 2 Chilean aircraft displaying. From both Chilean, the T-35 sister name is Chilean on the runway at the moment, being flown by Ludwig Wernemeyer. This is a tandem 2-seat primary aerobatic and instrument flying trainer. The designers in this case going for tandem rather than side by side. And despite the variety of the slow run in the wind. The T-35S single-seat aerobatic version, Arturo Silva, taking off to continue the Chilean combine display. Took the prototype in 1988. Whistling steep approach from the aircraft is now in the pre-series production phase of testing and development. It was designed and developed by Air to give the characteristics of more advanced aircraft as closely as possible, while retaining the maximum economy by the use, instead of easily available commercial items, and the use and the 160, the Trip 160, the more powerful one aimed at the military training market very largely, with the Textron Lycoming 160 and a Hoffman on-speed propeller. Now my colleague here, Pratt & Ritchie, flew this aircraft earlier in the display. And the fellow to be found in the front padlock that is allowed to talk to it. The controls are nicely balanced. The fuel selector, magneto switches, all centralized. But a more than 3-hour endurance, again, is used for non-session by Neville Duke, whose name was Magic, my youth, by its specialist design as requirement. It's built purely and simply for aerial observation. The only purpose-built aircraft of its type, currently certificated both in Britain and in the United States, and used for patrol of pipelines, power lines, forests, game parks. Could be used with special equipment for photography, intelligence missions. Could be used for traffic control, narcotics control, substance exercise. The cabin, 3 seats abreast, with dual control, being out-of-seat. Designed to give the maximum possible view out of the aircraft, and you've got over 200 levels, is giving a very strikingly good perspective with the optica. Optica has a very low external noise signature and a very low internal one as well, and extremely low vibration levels, largely due to the layout and design of the power unit. 260 horsepower IO 540, Textron Lycoming, would you believe? Direct drive to a 5-bladed 6-pitch prop running inside that big shroud ring, flexibly mounted at the rear of the cabin, and therefore bringing her back to a slow pass at 70 knots, which is about what he's doing now. You have an endurance of 8 hours, and 70 knots is the standard loiter speed it's been designed for. You have an 8-hour endurance. That's with 45 minutes reserves on the usable 55 gallons. Taking her gradually down onto the runway. The optical pilots have a tendency to fly down the runway when landing rather than land short and taxi. And here, of course, you have the point of low noise and low vibration levels, because you need as little fatigue as possible for a working crew in an 8-hour mission. Even with 110 knots, you can get 2 hours 45 minutes with reserve. Anyway, there goes the power line. Very interesting aeroplane, and we'll be having a look at it later on. Next actual item on the program. There's the helicopter on the north side. In fact, a joint program management company, and it's run by Westland in the UK and Augusta in Italy. And Colin Hay, the Western Helicopter test teacher, teachers and ICAS, Smith's Industries, doing most of the cockpit layout. Helicopter under the start, 3 engines for typical safety, but handling of helicopters on small ships than anyone else in the world. And Merlin will be able to operate autonomously with its own kit on board as a submarine and submarine hunter killer. And will be capable of detecting, locating, identifying and destroying fast, deep diving, quiet, nuclear or conventional submarines. That's 27 knots, 160 miles an hour, a range of 580 miles above, and winds of 50 knots in any direction. 15 of the Canadian aircraft will be operated as fast long-range search and rescue. With that speed of 150 knots and a cruise of 140, they will be able to 80% to be trained up to perhaps fast jet standards. Those who are good enough to continue their flying training. So that you need a particular kind of aircraft to do that. AEIO direct injection 540, Textron Lycoming, driving a 3-bladed propeller. Rate of climb 1650 feet a minute from takeoff. It will get to 5,000 feet in less than 3.5 minutes, and at 8,500 feet it's cruising at approaching 200 miles an hour, 180 odd miles an hour. Training school, Turkish Government Academy, and more recently the Canadian Department of National Defence, and it's also flying with the Sultanate of Oman Air Force. Norrie Grove in the six-speed T-67-260 Firefly. Links with the other Firefly, which you will be seeing towards the end of the program, because Sperry Hydraulics did the undercarriage on this one. This is the TBM 700, flown today by Jean-François Socor, who will also be flying the Omega later on. TBM developed and marketed this aircraft. They are 70% owned by Aerospatiale General Aviation. The 700 started by practice with Canada PD-6A, very popular and very reliable and well-training program. This is another aircraft you have flown in a Farnborough display. Let's go back to you, or
Yes,
at the display.
Yes, I managed to fly it last Farnborough, and it is superbly comfortable. That whole cabin has been decked up to very, very high quality indeed. It's beautiful, beautiful to fly, and I would have bought an absolutely ideal aircraft for advanced training, because you can use all the airway routes. You've got
The controlled airspace and
very much so. The speeds are very adjacent to the speed that you use in the lower airspace, going to the holes and different landing systems, and everything that you need for advanced training is on this aircraft with good performance. As you can see, the rate of climb now.
with, of course, considerable first production aircraft rolled out in 1990, and 90 TBM 700s have already been ordered. And long-range cruise settings will give you a maximum 1,850 miles, which is very long legs indeed. Radar, and he came to a very smart, very short full stop. Like they're using normal landing techniques, you only take up about 1,250 feet of runway. And he's putting off back down to high with the lid. (2,300 foot a minute). 11.7 meters a second. If you'd like to work, we turn back to South America again, this time to Brazil, for the display by the Embraer Tucano. Very successful aircraft in France, and a recent sale of 500 of some 700 aircraft ordered. 14 clients have already been delivered. The Cessna T-37. Basic trainer category. Kaiser, Paraguay, Colombia. and unnamed clients. 10 aircraft and a significant and very interesting order.
The nearest police officer.
Each short, steep approach in by the Tucano. Embraer, incidentally, are now working, and in fact are now flying a program, the Joint Primary Aircraft Training System. And I shall look forward to seeing that aeroplane because it's got a 1600 horsepower engine under the bonnet. Pratt & Whitney Canada PT6 again, but more than double the horsepower. And that should give the Tucano really fighter-like properties. New avionics, new ejector seats, pressurized cockpits, onboard oxygen generation system. 4. Now been 8 years in airline service and an undoubted leader in its class. Today, 312 have been built and 310 of those have been delivered. I don't know, power plant propeller combination which leads to very, very quiet operation. Regional aircraft. Seating can be varied, ranging from 16 to 37. Taking off behind me now. Looking at Big Brother, this is the Saab 2000, flown by Leonard Nord, the 340 being flown by fellows attached to General Motors CMA 107. Again, we've required propeller engine combination. Allison have been in the business of building engines since 1903 engine. The external noise, like the Saab 340, is very low, true good neighbour aeroplane, and it comes comfortably to meet all current and forecast noise regulations at any airport. Operating up to 31,000 feet, seating up to 58 passengers. Same pitch seat as the Saab 340. And a 50-seat layout which offers a 32-inch seat pitch. But now, on the runway, is Saab JAS 39 Reaper. and it worked very admirably. Very low and the canard configuration, of course. Possibly aided by the fact that, I don't know about it being uniquely, probably not, but the Griffon has nose wheel brakes as well. After touchdown, as you will see, the flight control system automatically goes to lift dumping. Those four-plane canards snap right up as air brakes, nose wing deflected as far as it will go. We go back now, watching that, to the civil combine. Saab 2000 now undergoing flight test and certification. 3 have been built. 100 high cruise speeds and rapid climb. That with the low noise inside and out are the main key points on the sales prospects of the 2000. It's the only regional airliner with a fly-by-wire rudder. I will see a working version on the stand of this cockpit. It's most impressive. Built in conjunction with Saab's partners in Spain, Finland, France, Austria, UK and the United States. And elsewhere, my notes from Saab say. Final assembly in Sweden. Now, the 340 is describing a 6-degree approach, 6-degree glide path approach. It's being certificated up to an 8-degree approach at the moment. The ground proximity warning system still under the process of certification. This of course gives you the ability to operate out of restricted small airfields. The process of the trials is flown into the London City Airport. He's landing deep today because the Saab 2000 is coming in behind it. Well over 400 340s on order or on option. An aircraft which has captured 60% of the European market and 30% of the market worldwide. The Saab are probably perfectly justified, I would say, in claiming that it's the most preferred aircraft in the 30 to 40 seat market. A commendably short landing by the 2000. International programs and one of the most handsome and one of the most exciting aeroplanes here today. This is the new Airbus 340. As you can see, the Britain all over it. Displaying, again, an aircraft displaying at Farnborough for the first time. The world's longest range airliner, the biggest aircraft so far built by Airbus industry, and their first with 4 engines. One of a very small number of flown today by Nick Warner, English-born engineering test pilot with Airbus, and Bill Wainwright. Deceptively slow acceleration. It's a very, very big aircraft. Wing tips with their fly out fast. The medium speed bypass October last year. Comes back for the first very fast. efficiency, and for the shorter sectors on which twin-engine economy is preferable, the 335-passenger A330 will slot in there. Features the same basic design as the 340. Here we come, tremendous sight as he comes booming overhead, whispering more than booming, I might say, sailing majestically over the top of our little commentating box. Other times of the year is apparently used for the cultivation of tomato. I'm going to have quite a lot of high alpha slow rounds. Due to begin early next year. Lufthansa received the first Dash 200 series, the one we're watching now, series for our, at the end of January. 22 from 78 customers, 590 delivered, and 583 of these are on operations with 70 airlines. Indeed, the figures on this day are probably considerably higher than that. Accelerating now, accelerating the first pull up, and then turn the landing. But did you do that in one of your books? No, says Jack. Philippine Airlines has just signed a contract with Airbus Industries covering a firm order for 6 and 4 options for the A340-200. With a flying time of up to 17 hours, the aircraft will fly further non-stop than any aircraft in civil aviation history, I'm told by the company, and I believe it. It will be a major part of Philippine Airlines fleet modernization and will be used largely to link Southeast Asia with Europe. It will be a 3-seat layout, orders to be delivered. Firm orders for the new A330, 340 family of 264 from 30 customers were. From the word go, complicated workload, I don't think engine is FADEC, full authority digital engine control. And in the electronic combat version, anti-radiation missiles and jammer pods For anti-shipping use, the big Exocet, Sea Eagle, Cormorant or Harpoon long-range anti-shipping missiles, and as a night attack aircraft, forward-looking infrared, a wide-angle head-up display, laser designator and night vision goggles. About to turn now to the first of a very extensive display of British aerospace products. First one is Paul Hopkins, the British Aerospace Hawk project pilot. Multi-row aircraft with separate. We have a wing laser inertial navigation system, INS. High ambient temperatures for hot and high countries. And it has a new combat wing which significantly improves performance and incorporates an instant power. Animals here, hawks, birds rather, which cover the full range of training and adversity trade scientific requirements airport. The range of missiles and equipment that can be carried through for the first time earlier this year, which the company is developing with improved avionics and electrics. There is to a completely different form. You see the very a company they've already been working very happily with, of course, over the here we'll notice here, Navy trading environment. And the program saves 58% on fuel over existing trainers for the US Navy. The cost per student will go down by 48%, and 46% fewer support personnel, which is a very significant saving, of course. Backups at all. 100 landing, a bit later. It was interesting to learn, talking to one of the pilots the other day, that the very amiable, the very nice handling qualities of the Hawk have remained precisely the same, whatever the version. He's flown all of the Hawks from the standard Mark I for the RAF, which we'll be seeing later, of course, this afternoon with the arrows, right up to things like the Goshawk and the Hawk 200. The basic handling remains absolutely identical. Coming in from your left now from Lambert's plane is the next item on the British Aerospace military program, and this is the Tornado, which should be in full vapor from the air as it goes by. It's two-seat attack aircraft, the low-speed end of the range in the circuit. Wings forward now into the medium position. Multinational Tornado is flight by the Royal Air Force. Unable to resist doing the slow speed high alpha pass done by Under 70 of these with the Royal Air Force, 400 landing, and 24 operated by the Royal Saudi Air Force. Moving out now onto the runway is the last of the military aircraft in the British aerospace display. And this is the latest version of the Harrier, ground attack and reconnaissance fighter, operated by the RAF. The R7 Harrier is on loan from number 4 Army Cooperation Squadron. Squadron celebrating its 80th birthday this year, formed in 1912. Greater area. It will hold more than 2,000. Latest version, the ER7, is equipped with forward-looking cockpit lighting to the high-vis goggles. wing with the case. With the outward way. These are dedicated to the body of flight winder suicide. For flight class maneuver, when he is climbing up and to the rear, as he is here, they are deflected very sharply forward. Down we come to the landing. Pilot's cockpit in this mark in the Harrier 2 has been raised and the pilot has been given greater vision. They've also got two other improvement devices, so they're improvement performance devices. LIDS, the lift improvement device itself, that's a couple of plates under the fuselage by the gun top position to capture ground reflected jet, give you more ground effect, and leading edge route extensions lurk to enhance air combat capability. But we turn now from military to civil and look at the latest member of British Aerospace's jet airliner family, the regional jet, the RJ-85. Successful range 146 4-engine airliners. These are regional jets, the name implies. It's a family of 4 aircraft. Although externally they look pretty similar to the former 146 series, and they are as quiet and have the same short field capabilities. There are quite a large number of changes in the design. The most important being the installation of new Kenton Lycani 500 series engines. These are the LS507, rated at £7,000 of price. Our version of the engine powering the 146, just developed out of the 500 series core engine for helicopters. Airline service, the engine has now achieved over 6 million flying hours, 6.5 million cycles in service of the 146. That's a very operation, it's short leg. Quite a lot of 146 operators, you see, are achieving 7 or 8 sectors in a day. That's very tough going on an engine. Complete dispatch reliability, I'm told, not for a short landing. Short field operation being a major selling point on the 146 and undoubtedly the same on the regional jet. He breaks out, full flap, big flaps. He's steady down beyond the keys and stopping comfortably at the intersection. Impressive performance on quite a large airliner. And away goes the RJ-85 down the runway. Where he's been based for the display. Video devoted to them, so you'll be able to watch that when you get home, having, I hope, been good citizens and bought a copy. Rolling now, flown by Kevin Morehouse. Displaying today the first prototype which Robbie Robinson first flew up at Woodford in August 1986. That information I was given by Stratton was commentating at Woodford and showed that here. And the last one was the defensive combine coming out now. The Jet 341. Well produced by Jonathan Black. This is at Scotland where the aircraft is built. This is the British Aerospace region of the prototype in September last year, just a year ago. Second aircraft launched in February this year, third one in March, fourth one in July. The 9-seater, turboprop powered, Gallon 31, turboprop engines, flat rated to 1500 shaft horsepower. Just 41 coming into service later this year with the delivery to Airlines of Britain, Logan Air and Manx in the range of the Jetstream 41. There's the full 29 packs on board, baggage and IFR reserves, 770 odd statute miles. A typical fuel burn for the Garretts is 135 US gallons an hour. Aircraft with us today, incidentally, is the second prototype, which first flew in February this year. It's been doing a hot and high airfield performance testing in Arizona and in New Mexico, and covering hydraulic system testing, handling DMCAs, and electrical systems load tests. So now you know. And coming out onto the airfield now, the first of the French military aircraft in display. This is the Aviation Mirage 2000. The Dash 5, the latest model, export model of the aircraft, low pass. The disadvantages of the Delta, which is otherwise a very, very useful platform, good load carrier, it's got good characteristics. And Patrick displaying the use of fly-by-wire with this low speed, high angle of attack path. It has a brand new all-glass cockpit with 5 CRT displays, a new RDY radar from Thomson CSF, look up and look down long-range detection and tracking against very high or very low altitude threats, multi-target capability. It's equipped for flight refueling. To carry up to 6 air-to-air missiles, typically 4 meters and 2 magics, and 3 supplementary fuel tanks. Gives it tremendous range potential for combat air control. As soon as Patrick has cleared, the short Tucano combine will take off, and they will clear off to the east for an airborne start. So they'll go down on the helicopter. And we are looking for the next flight. Brand Smith, well-known General Dynamics pilot, and this is a Block 40 aircraft. It's built by Turkish Aerospace Industries, who co-produce aircraft and £1,500 of thrust on burner. And Bland is going to give us a display. Translation from low energy to high energy over the top with coming down the runway at not much over 120 miles an hour. Nose high up in the air. Unrestricted throttle use through the whole flight envelope. Good halfway close. See the strakes, the four-body strakes blending in with the wing, which give you controlled vortex lift and increase aerodynamic lift. Also give you capability of carrying more fuel. Full fly-by-wire aircraft. Leading-edge maneuvering flaps, the bearing wing stand-up. 5-6 controller rather than the conventional 6, which gives you easy and accurate control. Royal Air Force aircraft, C-1, being flown by Keith Hartley, now a senior test pilot with International Flight Test. joined BAC in 1980 and moved in 89 to Cranfield to IFT, sport version. Appropriately enough, he spent some time in Tottenham Romance Airport. Both these chaps are ex-Lightning pilots, which is where they first met. Dick doing his first display at Farnborough. He's a production pilot with shorts. Many of you may have seen him fly in the past in the 5 years he spent with the Marlborough. From the Hawk when he goes to it at Valley. The performance is comparable, as is the handling. After coming into a commendably short landing. The cockpit, too, that was Dick Banning, wasn't he, Darcy? That big, clear, high vision cockpit, the instructor seated well above the pupil, is compatible with the Hawk. The student will be going on to a familiar cockpit when he gets into the Hawk. The short Tucano available for export, as you can see with the Kuwait one. There's 10 of the 130 aircraft ordered by the Royal Air Force. Hard points are fitted for export, although there is no weapon training requirement for RAF Tucano, carrying up to a maximum payload of some 2,200 pounds. Latest development from Canada based on the very successful smaller Challenger 600 and 601 aircraft. The new generation 50 passenger jet airliner. It was carrying delivery of the European launch customer Lufthansa City Line. RJ heralds to give the same level of quiet and comfort and space to passengers on short routes that they would. The speed and long range, of course, important because it enables operators to serve new destinations further away. The speed enables you to increase flight frequencies on your existing routes, and you can offer non-stop flights on your low-density routes if required. The high thrust-to-weight ratio is approximately 1 to 3 max takeoff weight. Gives you a steep and a good climb. The max takeoff weight is 51,000 pounds. The RJ will climb straight to its initial cruise altitude at 35,000 feet in 29 minutes. It will cruise up to Mach 0.8, up to an altitude of 41,000 feet, which for a regional airliner is very good going. It gives you plenty of flexibility. And it will carry a full 50-passenger load, some 1,860 miles at Mach 0.74. Shaw Brothers at Belfast build the main bulk of the fuselage from the cabin door at the front to the engines at the back. They are partners with Canadair in the program. And as Doug Atkins leaves, we turn our attention. rationalization of the workforce, so to speak. Rafale has a younger brother, the Rafale C. The Magic 2 air-to-air missiles. The turning finals now coming over the black shed. Good docile qualities of the Delta at low speeds, which are now possible. And this aircraft too has active foreplanes. You should see in the lift dumping mode after the aircraft has touched down. Can't see from here if he was using them or not. I suspect not. And we come now to what I'm sure a great many of you have been. Founded in 1929, right up until he died in 1972, the age of 84. This aircraft first seen in the West in 1970. It flew the following year. In production, the production line I think now frozen at some 30 aircraft a year. And it's missile armament carries very advanced CCM and CCM and low-level capability to us over the black sheds. Dramatic sight looking along at the distance, but that cloud. Tail armament is twin-barreled at all parts of the flight envelope. And the MK-25 engines concerning long range through very good economic fuel consumption, providing them. Weight around 128 tons. Variable geometry gives a minimum wing sweep of 20 degrees. Coming in now on what looks like a landing pass. Maximum 65 degrees. The span is 112 foot. The outer panels, very thin, flex considerably in flight. Magnificent and unique sight on this splendid afternoon. Combat radius around 2,500. After refueling, one aircraft at least is now Russian ethnic and expanded to Ukrainian aeroplane. Transport. And if he follows his flight plan, so committed he's going to do, going well. It is another aircraft with model of the basic 72C. It's the 72, the C. It's in production. Type first flew at Kiev in 1977. The Antonov Design Bureau is at Kiev in the Ukraine. Place that Stratton and I both visited for the World Aeros in 1976. Later codenamed Cola. Off she lifts and round she goes. High bypass ratio turbofans, the Zaporogy, I think, D436, giving about 16,500 pounds per. There are a number of different versions of this aircraft, from light stall military or civil transport to full cargo. There's an executive transport, and there's a specialized all-weather ark for 68 people into the big hold on folding seats along the cabin walls and the central aisle, or 57 parachutists on 24 stretchers. Aircraft configured, exhaust blowing over the lifting portion of the wing to useful, that is, low speed flight. First, according to the initial briefing before the show started at the beginning of the week, carried 100 kilograms more. Two things I particularly liked about this airplane. One is that they have a new variation of the standard warning lamps in the cockpit. The big airplane stands 105 feet. Normal 6,000 pounds. To do that on a 6,000 foot runway. Or you can operate at 60,600 pounds on 3,000 in the cells and the lift dumping devices coming into operation. Having said that, equipped as an executive or a combi version. There she comes, wearing the Ukrainian flag. Big flaps down. Touch, out go the spoilers. Are we going into thrust reversal? Yep. Very short stop. Next up, aircraft coming out. This is Pavel Blasov flying the MiG-29S. MiG-29, a single-seat, twin-engined, all-weather interceptor air superiority fighter with attack capability as well. Also existing, as most of these aircraft do, of course, as a two-seat combat trainer. This is the MiG-29S. It is a considerable upgrading of the basic MiG-29. Something like 700 of the original series MiG-29s produced, delivered by the beginning of 1989. Fly-by-wire aircraft. That's that's the longest we've had this week, I'm quite certain. That's a magnificent slide. And out accurately on line. Well, that's all. Then I'm for that. The increased and improved over the previous generation. This is a particularly good one, too. That's a nice one. Quite a steep gain in height there. That's interesting. We don't always see that. If it comes up to 90 alpha, it'll climb. And the opposition slip by underneath, presumably. Reversing your nose. Basic engines on the MiG-29 Tomansky RD-33K, in this case augmented bypass turbofans, producing some 19,000 pounds of thrust with reheat. Pavel Blasov displaying the MiG-29F, displaying the It's 65,000 kilometers, 6.5 miles up in the first finish. The third is seated at 56,000. Now, George Borkiltsev coming out in the Su-27 single-seater. This is the Sukhoi Design Bureau fighter. First flew back in 1977. Current production versions heavily upgraded from the original. systems. Pitch and roll control is by the all-flying tailplane and differential trailing edge flaps. This is, again, a visually very impressive phase of the Sukhoi 27 flight envelope. Roll rate is 270 degrees a second. Fly-by-wire gives automatic limits on the angle of attack, view there. The wing camera here. To the tail slide, he's got a big target to beat after Nassau. And down and down and out. That is nice too. Lazy roll back. Display line. I think these probably today they're the best displays we've seen. Speeds up to 950 miles an hour, or indeed up as missiles up to over 2,000 miles an hour at height, against targets flying at anything up to 89,000 feet. Why, there's that huge speed break. Igor Botintsev of the Sukhoi Su-27. Displayed by Boris Bergkat. Twin turbine, multi-purpose helicopter. Great pioneers of rotary wing work in Russia. First helicopter, the Mi-1, appearing in 1948. So this is basically a midlife update of the Mi-8, which was also codenamed HIP. That was a 1960s design, replacing the Mi-4 Hound. And quite a lot of Mi-8 airplanes actually have been converted to Mi standard, as well as new production. And they're deploying an abseiling person, one from each side. Mi-8 production is terminated now. The conversions are still flying. Total output from the factories at Kazan and Ulan-Ude topped 10,000 units along the road, along the walls, in the combi version, which will lift 440 pounds. Now, rolling is Genghis Karis in the Su-29T. This is the latest Sukhoi World Championship class unlimited aerobatic single-seater. It's powered by a 360 horsepower Benedale engine, basically the same engine that goes back to the Yak-AT. It is a very advanced design, symmetrical about all axes, so performance is identical whatever the attitude. I'm telling you all this beforehand because I'm not going to say very much during the display. Karis display speaks for itself. Some of this you're not going to believe. currently is the world's aerobatic champion. That combination of spins is something else I don't actually believe. Incredible ability of the aircraft of the pilot to recover from uncontrolled maneuvers at any altitude, any something else. Right? Down, it's far from a straight hit. Down in each row. Different roles in that performance Stratton's been counting. Even the approach to landing was staggeringly steep from aerobatic side step. Down to the far edge of the runway, coming away back here. Thank you, Charlie, world aerobatic champion and the Sukhoi S-29, Su-29T. Basically the same power plant as in the 757. 200 passenger aircraft going through certification on its way to becoming the first Russian airline. 42,000 pounds of thrust in each of those huge bores. 204. This is an airline that could be of great interest to world airliners. Airlines generally, both those particularly operating Rolls-Royce engines, therefore familiar with the established support system and the reliability record of the engine, and also to a number of Russian and CIS airlines. Two-thirds of all E4s achieve 10,000 hours on the wing. The lead engine in the fleet has currently accumulated over 19,000 hours without removal. A handsome aeroplane, that. So great has the interest been at Farnborough in the Tu-204 by cargo operators that Bravia have accelerated the launch of their full cargo version to be the 200C, the latest derivative 535, to be available to the company already associated with the manager 50 of the Tu-4, which is very good thrust and fuel consumption performance of the RB211. Makes a tricky combination provided. Now we turn to takeoff for Sokol. And our next display item, that will be the E3D Sentry. Now this we haven't had a course on him yet. He normally calls about 10 miles. We'll track him in foil. He is only doing a single run, a single bypass, so that's when he was the software development. See him coming in now. Single run. This, if it's the same aeroplane, it's somewhat difficult to tell with the low visibility markings. This should be Zulu Hotel 107. Newest aircraft on the fleet. This is the last Boeing 707 derivative to be built, of course. Possible from where we are, it's been strange to start to see what the managed This aircraft, if it is 107, is essentially instrumented for air-to-air refueling trials with the VC-10 tanker. They've already currently cleared the site of operation of 5-star, operating version aimed at people wanting enhanced performance for trainers of this class. Out on the runway is the FFA Bravo, and the light training aircraft, which you can see after he comes back from the hold. He's given a very crisp display thereabout a little later. Go back somewhat, 5 minutes later. So, and lifting now out of the helicopter park is our last rotary wing aircraft for the day. This is the Romanian entry in this afternoon's program, the IAR 330. IAR, the Romanian aeronautics industry, major part of the aircraft builders in Romania, as co-pilots, both of them civil test pilots with IAR. They're demonstrating the agility of this very popular helicopter. Some 850 almost have been built worldwide. It's one of the most cost-effective helicopters in the game, from the point of view of aerospatiale. Over 200 built by IAR in Romania. 112 first aircraft with a ducted propulsion power unit. And worked before the First World War as a designer for some years with the British Colonial Aircraft Company, now Bristol. Aeroplanes for them, designing aeroplanes for them. Recently, of course, the Romanian industry of Maniasa has been building Highlanders and the Rombach BAC 111. And I've been to both factories. Alan Wade, who is going out in the pits, making quite certain that we know that little aeroplane is there. That's one of the more high-powered versions of the 9MS. This particular version with Western avionics is the L59, the export version for the West. Up by the chest, ZZL, 5,120 feet a minute, precisely, to a service ceiling of 38,500 feet. Windshield games are fixed. Pounds on the outboard, 1,000 or 500 rather, or 250 kilograms. Weapon control from the forward cockpit only. 1968 L39 Albatross. from 2,800 windows served around serving in 14 airports. Czechoslovakian Aero L39MS. I understand, my information being impeccable, from the manager of the Red Arrows, who's been in the country recently, that it will go on being Czechoslovakia till the end of the year. So for once I've got something right. Sixth special announcing its arrival, flown by Alan Wayne, one of the top aerobatic display pilots in the UK, flying the micro-leaf sixth special, operated by Farnborough Aerobatic, which is another name for Brian Macomber, down in Wales.
Season, the sizes of our formations will increase. The altitude at which we practice will reduce. But it's not until January of the winter season that we actually fly all 9 aircraft together at our display altitude. And it's now my great pleasure to introduce the 1992 Royal Air Force Aerobatic team, the Red Arrows. Watch that smoke colour change to white. Once again, I'm taking a record to 20 miles set the diamond. Adrian flew the Buccaneer in the Royal Air Force Germany. There's also a weapons instructor on the floor. Immediate left is red green and flight attendant Barry Thornton. As a flying display aircraft. Over the top of the loop though, watch for the smoke colour to change from blue to white. Formation shape is changing, the reds 4 and 5 are dropping further back. This time it's a shape we call Eagle. It's actually named after the American space vehicle, the lunar module, the Eagle. And once again, to enable us to get a closer look at that eagle shape, this is the Eagle Bend. For the main section, as they come towards us in the cascade, we're going to provide the arrows through the middle of that path. This time, to perform the opposition barrel roll. Get a close look at the horse in the slow pass. You'll also notice that formation station takes on so much to look at an inverted V. and that's if you look to the right for the return of the first pair. Watch the big line to the V. In the goose. To your left, you'd like to look straight ahead and slightly right for the return of clear traffic. Initially trailing white smoke in an echelon starboard. Now you'll notice that smoke colour has changed to alternately blue and red. Watch initially for the team leader to roll under. Then each aircraft in turn will follow the leader through the twizzle.
Last swordfish numbers, last 75 by 2. John Beatty, well-known character, the name of his story is right. From the Navy, 59. Swordfish led by Captain Simon Farnborough, DSC. 3 years and test pilot Oscar. Very swordfish displaying first. That's an astounding sight. How very some of the concrete Hebrew. This one, selling down, especially to now, and how it's helping to catch. Well aware. Remarkable engineering officer used to be known as Evan the Test, who used to tow the swordfish with his vintage Humber. Amber changing flaps. For landing purposes.
Yeah, one's military.
It's looking really beautiful in it. Proper 1943 colours. Long time they've never seen any sea service. To the Rapids plain end, and you will see a familiar and very beautiful sight running in. Memorial flight flying on Lancaster, and following him comes the Hurricane. The only Hurricane operation, Southampton, was very heavily bombed. Production was, of course, transferred to the province, but a lot of airframes were lost. Working away to the west, and the Lancaster running back in to the east. From Ava Jonathan, he scored more victories than any other aircraft in the battle. The markings of 103 Squadron, which joined the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight in 1973. The 617 Squadron raid on the dams. which started the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, and a tornado. Mark 19, the Rolls-Royce Griffon engine of well over 2,000 horsepower. The aircraft for this season made up in the... all-day AMC, I should say. Been with the flight since 1980, it's now fighter leader. Says that, so it must be true. He goes running it across with the tornado, photographs of the sun. Flight. Just after the war, November 1945. Farn flew in 1936, came into service with 19 Squadron at Duxford, a close run thing. Some 25,000 Spitfires built for various sparks, they went up to Bar. And after the war. Top speed of the Mark 19 Spitfire was around 430 miles, very high level photographic DI work. 42,000 feet. Run in now, coming round from the west from Lambert's Plain. He's flown by.
That doesn't end, that's the end of their attachment heads that like roll over into the something and you just like focus up. And that's all there.
Hamilton planned the Mosquito back in 1938 as a private venture. They had a lot of experience with this sort of aircraft. The Comet Racer of 1934, speed experience. Indeed, Mosquito also made of wood, a non-strategic material that was available locally that we shipped in. And by eliminating gunners and defensive armament, they reckoned they could produce very heavily armed. Capable of self-defense. And of course at that time the Havillands was a private firm with and the twin-engine bombers. And any future capacity was reserved for the four-engine aircraft. So the Mosquito was very slow against fighters. And there was a sensation. And it suddenly was seen to be the answer to everything. Huge production was demanded within weeks. The usual story. Like a bomber, a trainer, a maritime strike craft. Long range, high speed, and twin-engine safety, which is nice as a fighter.
I've already done a frontal one though. Oh, is that one again?
to go in one way and one going the other to counteract it because it's got no blade at the back. You've seen other helicopters which got big blades at the back. This is counter-rotating. One goes one way and one goes the other, so it doesn't spin round.
One of those, please.
They're lost in where war.
On 519 141, extension 3050. That's 5.
Balance. Okay. Isn't that little... Sorry.
No, 3.